Boom. There we go. All right, cool. Good morning, everybody, or good day, wherever you are. And I'm excited today for this conversation. I have two guests with me today. I've been following the posts on Instagram for quite a while. And I was thinking, geez, I need to talk with these people because there's so much going on that they're doing that's really good, helping people with Parkinson's, helping people in general, brain health. We're going to be talking today about Ping-Pong. Ping-Pong for Good is the name of the initiative, the brand. I'll just do a little bit of a read here. So Ping-Pong for Good is a philanthropic, sorry for my, I'm now starting over. It's a philanthropic initiative to promote the importance of exercise for brain health, which is so important, right? So important. And also Ping-Pong for Good is, they're out there to raise awareness about the many benefits, physical, mental, and social, of playing ping pong. And I find this just so cool that your goal is widespread adoption of ping pong as exercise for a healthy brain and body, and for its use in therapeutic treatment, which is epically, that's a huge topic right there, and the means to promote, let's say, active aging. I love that you support clinical research to develop protocols for treatment to improve the lives of those living with brain disease or cognitive disorders. So I would like to introduce my special guests, Maureen McComsey and Trent MacLean. Welcome to the Extraordinary Experts podcast. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having us. We're really, really happy to be here. And I'm usually up about 5 o'clock. So I'm well into my day by the time we get this started. And I've already probably had a couple activities under my belt too.
That's great. That's fantastic. So I just want to say that for people who are on Zoom watching, if you have any questions, just throw them in the chat box. Leona says, hello, everyone. Woohoo warrior. The woohoo warrior.
I've played. Yeah, Leona and I have done battle on the ping pong table.
Really? I don't know her personally, but we see each other a lot online. So it's good to have you here, Leona. And also for people on Facebook, because we're live, if you have questions, throw them in the comments. I'll be monitoring the feed throughout. So this is really cool what you're doing. You have this initiative, a philanthropic initiative. You're helping people. I was wondering if you could give me a little history, anywhere you want to start. How did it come about? Why did it come about? And maybe we start there.
That's a great place to start. And thanks so much for having us, Carl. It's really great to be here. The start of Ping Pong for Good is really it came out really simply. It was during COVID. The inspiration was really brought on through a dear friend of mine's 92-year-old mother who has been, has diabetes but has been staying very active her whole life, playing ping pong. And so during quarantine, it was the only thing that they could do because everybody was stuck at home. So they played a lot of ping pong. And during that case, they actually would go for the rallies because that's what was really good for her, working out her brain. And her son had bought the table for his parents because of that purpose, because he knew that ping pong was really good for the brain. So they've been playing for years. And we think they broke a record of 1,246 times on a consecutive 13 minutes of consecutive play. 92 years old. Try that. I mean, I can't get above 100 hits probably.
Can't even count that.
It was pretty impressive. So anyway, from that, we got the news. We wanted to inspire people just because Eileen was so active and it was benefiting her personally, and she spoke about it very beautifully. And from that, I started to do some research, and I discovered, hey, there's an organization, there's a movie about that covered a troop of over 90-something-year-old people who were created a ping pong league that was traveling the world, playing in championship games. And then through that, we discovered there was a ping pong Parkinson's group that's been working out of New York and doing great work. And then in March, the American Association of Neurology announced a study that showed benefits of improvement in symptoms with Parkinson's patients specifically. And then there's been tons of work. And then you start opening up that rabbit hole. And then there's just been a lot of information out there, but it hasn't really been shared widely. So what I realized, and after seeing kind of speaking to the people as we were doing this research, how beneficial ping pong was. And then I reached out to my dear friend Trent, who has been living with Parkinson's, and to ask his advice and see if he had been playing. And I'll let him kind of tell a little bit about his story and how he got into this.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks, Mo. I think that was a good start, and I thank her for that call and the research she did to kind of get this going. And I was diagnosed about 11 years ago, although I was showing symptoms probably as early as 40 years ago. And I've been very fortunate. The medications work well for me, and I have a relatively slow progression. So I don't suggest for a minute that everything that's worked well for me will work well for everyone, but I firmly believe that my intense activity as part of my lifestyle growing up and post-diagnosis has contributed to a relatively slow progression. And when I say intense activity, I'm talking about skiing, cycling, spinning, hit classes, ping pong. Now I started back up about 5 years ago, and kind of just as an interesting sidelight, a good friend of mine played in college, and he needed a playing partner and someone to tune him up for when his brother came to town. So, and he had one of the robots as well, one of probably the higher end ones where you can program 8 or 9 different shots up to 90 balls, per minute.
Oh my gosh.
So, probably tougher than any opponent you'll typically face. So, interestingly, my friend put together some video footage going back 5 years ago, 3 years ago, and a couple months ago. And so you'd expect that over time that perhaps my play might deteriorate over that time with 5 years of age. And it's kind of a Benjamin Button. It actually looks like my most recent version, would have been 5 years ago. So I'm actually improving. You improve with practice, but my reaction time is so much better, and it looks like 2 different people over that time span. So we weren't documenting it for any particular reason, but it's encouraging to me what ping pong as part of my regimen has done, and to be able to measure it in that way. So
that's just great. It's interesting. I keep, I nerd out, geek out every day on really trying to learn things that'll be helpful for really anybody. This is good for anyone's brain, right? Because we have the neuroplastic factor that we can retrain the brain, we can improve reaction time. There's so many reasons why somebody might fall down or have an increased risk of falling. Or let's say cognitive decline, mild cognitive decline, dementia, Alzheimer's. But I was just reading a thing by Dr. John Rady, who wrote several books. One of them is called Spark. I had him on the show last year. He's a really interesting guy. And, he says in his postings and in the talk that the part of the brain, the part of the body that probably benefits more than any other part of the body from any type of exercise, whether it be cardio, resistance training, anything, or hand-eye coordination, is the brain. And that to me really solidified the fact that because there are so many people who do experience, let's say, various issues over time, like you said, activities you've been doing maybe they help delay onset of disease, and maybe they're helping to delay progression, and you'll never know because you can't go back 11 years and not do anything. But the data is out there, the research is out there, and all this brainy stuff to me is fascinating. And you know, the other thing that's really cool is when you have fun. It seems like this is a fun thing to do.
Yeah, Carl, absolutely. As you know, as we've certainly discovered, there's two things about an activity that, you know, you have to check off. The first is the one you just alluded to, and you're not going to do it unless you're enjoying it. And the other is you cannot be intimidated by it in terms of being able to do it. And sort of to the point of my ability relative to perhaps other people with Parkinson's is that, you know, my neurotherapist is working with people in wheelchairs, you know, so it's adaptable. So you can take the traditional game and modify it in a way that can suit anyone's current, you know, restrictions and abilities. So whether it's the ability to play or just abilities because of something attributed to the disease, you know, he's able to do adaptations for just about any level of, you know, ability. And it was fascinating to have some of his patients come in a bad mood, not wanting to be doing anything, and once they got on that table in one way or another, even if the ball was suspended and they could be hitting the ball suspended, there was a mood shift. And it's to the point now where he's included ping-pong therapy has now been included as part of the overall therapy for the patients with Parkinson's and other brain degenerative diseases, and with very positive results. So it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, to that end, we just we're really excited to be able to have our pilot program of ping pong therapy happening right now at the Pacific Brain Health Center here in Santa Monica. And so we're working with one of their the brain coaches there, and he's been weekly, as Trent just said, working with patients, everybody from a 30-year-old with a brain tumor to Alzheimer's patients to a Parkinson's person, or someone, or else a gentleman who just wants to work on his executive functioning as he ages. So it's really running the gamut, and it's been really exciting to see the work that's coming out of there.
So I have a question for you. I'm being presumptuous, but I think I might have the right answer. Are you working with Ryan Glatt?
Yes.
Is that who you're speaking of?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Well, I have to tell you, first of all, I love that guy. And
we do too.
We've totally geeked out on some conversations together over the phone or video call, and he's somebody I'll be talking to at some point this summer, just about stuff, because that guy's, honestly, I think he might be a genius.
Yeah,
I think he is.
Seriously, a genius. Yeah,
absolutely. And we're headed.
Yeah,
well, God bless you for having. I'm so happy you have him. First of all, you could not possibly have a better person in your corner than Ryan.
I couldn't agree more.
The best. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, Carl. When I play virtual ping pong with him when I'm not in town, he's always getting me to either count down by 7, you know, for the cognitive side, or he's telling me some story to distract me, just so that I'm focusing more on the game. And it's, you know, it's always about brain and body, and it's about tricking the brain and about coming up with, you know, different ways to do it, just to, you know, whether it's, could even be in the shower, squeegeeing with your wrong hand, you know.
Yeah, everything you're saying
resonates
so well. Yeah, it's so. Go ahead, Maureen. I have a million things I could say, but this is about you, not me.
Okay. No. I just wanted. I'm geeking out too, because when you go to the center, what Brian set up on the table, he's got colors and balls, and there's the robots. But he's also, you know, when he's working with someone at the table, he's sometimes asking them to take their, you know, their feet to one direction, to off balance. There's all the different things that ways that he's been working with patients. In fact, we're heading over there this evening to kind of get some of these protocols filmed for tutorials, to give some examples of how people can really when they are practicing playing ping pong, what they can do to actually maximize some of the benefits to your brain while you're playing. So I really, there's so much therapeutic possibilities with this
Yeah.
game that we want to get out there. So that's really one of the key purposes that we want to do is launch this ping pong therapy program.
I
And then
love it.
the other addition, with VR now, and kudos to NINAD and PPP, when restricted by travel, he came up with the idea of doing the world championships on VR. And for many of the people, including myself, had never experienced, VR on sport or ping pong. And suddenly I was introduced to not only VR, but I was able to play people around the world and speak to them while I played them. And it was, again, the technology's come so far that there's a lot of similarities to the real game. And I found that it started to help my game on the table through VR, but you can do it for people that don't have the space, or they're limited in some way. All you have to do is get the headset on, and you're in business with someone anywhere in the world. So
That's so
great idea. And I traveled to about 10 different countries, without leaving home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so interesting. Okay, so I need to dial back here because you made two different points that I think are real important. Number one, I share this with everybody who I work with. In fact, I'm going to Arizona, Phoenix, in about 3 weeks to work with a doctor who was just diagnosed with Parkinson's. He's going to have me come in. We're going to work together a day and a half, and then I come home. And he says, before I get here, I want to set up my house with the right stuff. What should I get? So what the stuff you'll actually use would be a good start. So we're talking about, but the point of that is you have to do things you like to do or you won't do them. I know. I'm guilty as charged. Or if there's something I don't like, I'll try to make it fun enough so I will do it. Right? So that's really good. And then the other thing is to not be intimidated by it to the point where you won't do it. And I've actually never thought about that consciously, yet I've experienced it. So that point right there is so relevant and important, I think, for people to consider. I don't want to, if I'm going to do it, I don't want to be intimidated by it. So that's a great point. Now, also moving forward is all this stuff about the brain and maximum benefits to the brain. I mean, you already know all this stuff, but for those watching, and welcome, by the way, Susan Given and Karina, mi amiga in Bolivia, Karina Davila, welcome. So it's really interesting. I love that, for example, you're talking about maybe somebody's telling, or Ryan's telling you a story while you're playing to distract you, so you're really forced on focusing more, because that hyper focus is so important for neuroplasticity and creating new wiring patterns. And then what I really love is that this is another one of these things we can do, the ping pong, that fires up so much brain activity, and you can enhance it, not just hitting the ball. You can do other things. And the benefits while playing, what you develop during the training or the playing, well, they travel outside the door to you, with you, into other facets of life. Right, so maybe your dual tasking is improved, and you're less likely to fall down from a distraction or something like that. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. When I walk out, and I have an example of a friend who, will remain anonymous for now, but
Sure.
I came in and wasn't moving, wasn't moving that well that day or that morning. And after the VR experience, just getting moving on ping pong and boxing, was back on after 10 minutes of that activity. And that was just movement. There wasn't anything scientific about it. So I'm encouraged by when I motivate people to move, that there's improvement, and when they move intensely, it seems to help even more. So I'll follow the science, and I'll follow my therapist. But in the meantime, it's just, I'm convinced that activity and intense activity is a benefit in some way, whether you're actively aging or whether you're actually afflicted with a degenerative disease.
Well, sure, and the other thing too is like the mood factor I find really fascinating. And not that this matters, I'll just say many, many times for all of my life, when I wake up in the morning, more often than not, I feel sad. I didn't today, but I know how to get out of it now. Seldom is there a day I can't get out of it within 10, 15 minutes, and it usually just has to do with moving.
Yeah. Well,
and, of course, I try to choose my thoughts and be grateful because I have so much. I mean, I have a wonderful life. I'm very lucky. There's no reason other than maybe a chemical imbalance, I don't know, that I should feel that way. But movement does change brain activity, and it helps to generate those neurochemicals, if you will, that like the serotonin, the oxytocin, maybe. I'm not actually sure on that, but I know some of the happy stuff happens when we move and we do something we like. Having fun is so good, right? I mean, please go ahead.
Yeah,
I can talk
Carl,
all day about this.
Yeah,
This is about
Carl,
you.
You just keep triggering other things. But the beauty of ping pong is that many of us played, as children. We played with siblings. It was intergenerational, and most people you talk to have had a favorable experience with the game. So it brings a smile to their face from a memory point of view. And when you watch people pick it up and they go, "Oh, geez, I haven't played for years," or "I'm not any good." Once they're doing it, it's just people start smiling, and so there's a reason I think that ping pong is the most widely played activity in the world, both recreationally and competitively. It's already there, so that's a huge advantage that you've got more people playing it than anything else. So we just want to make people aware of the benefits, for the brain and the body. And the one thing we didn't mention is that you have to even incorporate the spin of the ball into the hand-eye. So it's got that added dimension, in terms of.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm looking down because I'm looking for something I'll share, but please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add a little to what Trent just said. One of the things that Trent's described when I get, he reports back weekly, kind of how things are going with his patients. And one day in his report, he actually wrote how much the patients really genuinely enjoy playing and actually describe it as joy. Like it was really, he's having just incredible moments, I think, working with patients. And I actually had a chance to watch one of these and see kind of going on table for the first time. And he said he hadn't played since 1985. And he was so good. He was an amazing player. And all of a sudden he was like hitting with a robot and doing so well. And it was just so, you could just see the confidence and but also just the reaction that he was doing. And then Ryan started doing drills with them. And it was just incredible to see. I mean, we're just seeing over and over again, just anecdotal after anecdotal evidence. So one of our hopes is by getting this ping pong therapy into some clinical centers, we can really start documenting and really create the protocols and research that will really maximize, as we said, the benefits of this type of therapy, because we're seeing it firsthand every day how well it can help. And on a personal note, when I get really stressed out, which I do, I'm pretty high strung, as you can probably see from my demeanor. I actually, will put on the headset and just hit with the AI robot for like 20 minutes and just whoosh, calms me down. And I'm able to kind of stress release. And I'm finding it something that I will use the rest of my life without a doubt.
Oh, sure. So what AI or what virtual VR are you using for ping pong?
Oh, well, so we now have we just connected with Oculus, and which is run by Facebook. And we actually have a link in our website. Actually, I just posted it last night for Father's Day. It's the perfect Father's Day gift. And you can play if you have an Oculus, you can play. It's 11 table tennis as a game, and you have to find Trent and I, and we'll play games with you when you log on. And we actually have our meetings on Quest now.
Really? Wow, that's so cool. I have an Oculus too. I just got it about 6 months ago, and I actually use it with a lot of the people I work with for various things because of the a couple of people who cannot walk, but we can get their heart rate up because they're boxing or they're
Yeah,
doing Beat
exactly.
Saber, whatever game it is. They're having fun. They're using their brain. There's hand-eye coordination, and we get the heart rate elevated, which they need to. And the Oculus is just so cool. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
and
look
it's
for
Well,
that.
the
I'll
woman,
go on and I'll buy it because I will definitely use that.
well, $9.99 for a download of that. It paid for itself in 10 minutes when I played it. It's
Absolutely, yeah.
so
it's
great.
amazing. I don't even like, I've never really liked virtual reality. It kind of made me nauseous. And because you're stationary when you're playing, you actually, for me, it's the most realistic, amazing experience. I never thought I would ever be able to enjoy a virtual reality game so much. And
Wow.
yeah,
I'll go
and
and
you
look up
can't do it sitting down.
I'll find your post, and or is there a web? Can people get that off of your website? Like, can they link over to?
Yeah, there's a link on our website and there's a link in our Facebook. We just posted it today, and also in our Instagram.
Because there is a ping pong for good Facebook page. That page is out there, folks. So please, like it and follow. I
And our
just want to.
website is
Yeah.
at pingpongforgood.org,
.org.
and we're on
Yes.
Instagram and Facebook.
Yes. I just want to show you something. This is Christoph, so you've probably seen him, but he's using numbers as targets. Now I'm not sure what's happening exactly, but just for an example, this is my friend in Poland.
Yes.
He's
Amazing.
doing I'm not sure if he might be reverse image on this, maybe not. I can't remember which side is more affected. I think it's his right hand, but he's bilateral with this. He'll go two at once and just kill it. I mean, I can't even do one
Amazing.
right now, so I'm looking forward to doing any. And I'm going to get that download today because I have to have it.
Well, and Carl too, if you're competitive at all, this isn't about competition, but if you just want to measure yourself, there's one which is placement similar to the one you just showed us, and it's a quadrant game, and I've risen. I've gone from a score of 1,000 to over 8,000. So then they'll show your world rankings.
Wow.
So I'm up to.
That's great.
So I'll go from 8,000 in the world to 1,026 in the world. So being competitive as I am, I can just continue to. So I'll focus even more, just to try to get up my personal world ranking in a particular game.
Well, see,
He's always.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, just saying. Trent is a really fun competitor, and it's always beating me on the table. So
that's well, once I get reasonably even be able to do it at all, I'll find you guys. And then you can
please do.
I'm waiting for you, Carl.
Oh yeah, you might be waiting for a little while, but well, there's a book that came out a couple years ago that I really, really love. I learned about it through a doctor I follow at Stanford, Dr. Andrew Huberman at the Huberman Lab. Has a beautiful podcast. He talks about a book called The Molecule of More, which is one of my favorite books. That's all about the many roles of dopamine. So we know that when we look at Parkinson's in particular, although there are some other movement disorders where dopamine is lacking, that lack of dopamine is, can cause problems for people in various ways. Everyone's affected differently, uniquely. But one thing they talk about in the research in that book, plus all this other research out there, is when you're having fun, when you're physically active, when you're also driven towards a goal of maybe scoring really high, improving your technique, placing a certain place level, first place, like whatever it is, working yourself towards being better. Dopamine is, first of all, that's the driving force primarily that pulls us towards an award, a goal, or whatever. And this, with improving in a skill, improving in a, like ping pong, let's say, you can always work on improving, right? Just like anything else. So dopamine is going to drive you, but just the mere fact that you're having fun and you're active and moving, the research says this helps to light up dopamine pathways to increase the, let's say, the amount or the flow of dopamine. And I can't articulate for sure whether extra dopamine is created. Maybe it is, but we do know that more dopamine through lit up dopamine pathways will get around and do its job. So have you ever experienced, I'm just curious, I don't know how you're affected exactly, but let's just say you have a period. Do you ever have periods of time where you're not moving as well or coordinating as well as other times? And I know for some people, when they get active and do things, their symptoms tend to diminish quite a lot. How does that work for you, Trent?
Yeah, it's mainly, I mainly correlate with times of fatigue, either when I'm due for my next, round of medication, or when I'm fatigued. And even if I am fatigued and it's not related to timing of medication, after being active, I'm much more alert, post activity. So it could be one of those where I may not be up to the level. So, but for me, it's consciously continuing to do the activity, even if it's not as intense, if I don't have the energy level, but I'm still better off doing it and doing it as best I can. It's whatever the day brings me in terms of energy, or if I haven't had a chance to have a nap, but I'm still better off symptom wise post activity if I do it, as opposed to not doing the activity, even going in fatigued.
Interesting. Yeah, because another thing that this research, it's out there in a lot of places. I learned it direct from Stony Brook in Long Island. Dr. Lisa Moratori talks about how exercise will help to, let's say, the absorption of medication, so it gets into the system faster, and then it has a longer lasting effect. Most everything is a generalization, but generally speaking, that would be what happens for most people. So that's kind of cool, right? Take medication, do the activity, turn on faster if you're prone to on and off periods, and then have it last longer. That's really
the great thing we were doing, even with the PPP group, is when I was participating, is you could do ranked and unranked. So you could have ones that were casual games, or ones that meant something. And so if your opponent was a friend and it wasn't having their best day, we'd select unranked, just so that it wouldn't affect their standing. So
that's what I'll be doing.
We'll give you a couple. We'll give you a couple passes out of the gate.
All right, good.
He is gentle on you first. It's not right out the gate, so don't be worried about playing with Trent. If you get a chance to play with Trent, anyone who's listening too,
but believe me, and I believe me, I was humbled by the Swedes and humbled by the English during this foray. So, but I improved as a result, and everyone lifted. I think everyone lifted their level, and everyone lifted their spirits.
And just to clarify, PPP is Ping-Pong Parkinson's, and if you go to their site too, you can learn more about that incredible championship they did this last year, which was to really do that as a pivot to they'd done one in person the year prior, and they had to go virtually because of the pandemic. And Nita Bach, the founder there, just did such a terrific job together with the table tennis 11 group. So that's kudos fantastic to them.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, I got a bunch of thoughts going on. Let's go to the one where what you were saying about lifting the spirits, but you're actively doing this. You're doing it with people actively. Let's say you're being active. You're doing it with people. That togetherness is a thing. That's another thing out of Harvard that Rady says is, exercise, like get moving. Whatever your choice is that you'll actually do it. Do it with another person or other people, unless you really want to be alone. But typically, it's just better. The interaction is better. Of course, you're interacting with other people during this, or you can be. You can play the robot or machine probably, but you can work with other people on this. enjoy it, and moods will tend to elevate, but the elevated mood a lot of times helps people to play better, and then playing better elevates the mood more, and then so it kind of like each thing helps the other. You just keep going up in the level of playing and skill, up in the level of having fun, up in the mood. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
Win-win.
yeah.
Totally, 100%.
If I'm looking at my day going, oh geez, what am I going to fit in? It's I'm going to make sure that I find time for these activities, and it's part of the day. And if I'm not able to do that one day, I really feel like I'm missing something, and so I'll fit it in. Doesn't matter what time I get up. Before most people are awake, I've done 2 or 3 activities, and it puts me in a better frame of mind for the day, and I can go in and attack it.
I love it. So
Yeah.
we have some comments here. I just want to read through a couple things. So Leona says, hello, everyone. Oh, yeah. Woohoo Warrior. Hello from Shugli Stu Rob.
Yep, Stu's a PPP player as well.
Great. Welcome, Stu.
Hi there.
I think
Great to have you here.
Stu beat me handily, as I recall.
Okay. And Stu says, okay, Stu has Parkinson's, but I do not consider yourself to be a patient and all the associated connotations. I accept the diagnosis, but not the prognosis. That's power right there.
Yeah.
Leona says, amazing. So encouraging to be able to see the positive progression and gain over the last 5 years. Great to hear this, Trent. Goosebumps, she says. And Maureen, you shared a webinar, Brain Health Exercise and Ping-Pong by Ryan Glad. So that definitely be checking that out.
All the science. It's packed full of all this really great science behind this movement and other movements. It's really, Ping-Pong as an overall piece of your movement.
And who better to deliver that information than Ryan? Seriously, that guy is a genius. I deem him a genius. For real. And we have people on Facebook watching. Laura's here. Alejandra, Sylvia, Gabriela. Hola, Sylvia. I'll see you probably late October, I think. I just figured out I'm going to Monterrey then, I think. Felipe Castañeda. Hello. ¿Cómo está, mi amigo? Excelente. We need to bring ping pong to Mexico. Okay, let's talk. The three of us will talk about. Yeah. I have strong ties with Mexico, and I go there often, and we do a lot of work there with people with Parkinson's all over the country. So,
I connected with a restaurant on Instagram that has a ping pong table on their roof, and they were really excited about ping pong. So there's ping pong in Mexico someplace. I'll see if I can find it, and I'll drop it in the link.
Yeah, I'd love to know where, because I have a few trips coming up there this year. I only have dates for one right now, but yeah, that'd be neat. I'd like to check that out if it's in a city where I go. So, if you don't mind, then let's just dial back. Ping-Pong for Good is that's a registered. That's a business. Is it what type of business is it? Like, not that it matters, but I'm trying to get to a point here, because I know you do. It's a philanthropic initiative, which to me is a big deal. I have one too that I do, that I started 3 years ago, a nonprofit, but we're trying to help people in many ways. So tell me more about Ping-Pong for Good, maybe what it is exactly, and maybe where you're going with it. What are some of the goals?
For sure. So, Ping-Pong for Good really, we're a nonprofit organization, and we're, our first initiative and our first kind of stage is to really raise the awareness. And this is what you're helping us do here right now, is we want people to know that this is a great thing to do for your brain. And I was just shocked that more people don't know. And 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I think Dr. Oz was talking about it. Dr. Amon's been talking about it. There's been a number of neurologists, different pockets are all talking about it, but it's really not really talking. People aren't really aware of it. I'm really surprised how few even doctors don't really know about it. So our number one goal right out the gate is to raise awareness and get people playing and show them how. And so we partnered up with EULA to which is one of the manufacturer companies. They're based out of here in the US as well. And I think they're in Virginia. I'm drawing a blank right now, but they have great equipment that they've sponsored equipments for the Olympics previously. And they are also donating a portion of their sales to a nonprofit. So if you do buy EULA, please let us know so that we can, so that you can support this initiative.
That's great.
And then phase 2 is developing these protocols of play. So that's why we're working with EULA, and we're also working with some of the coaches and professionals over at EULA. There's a pro that's part of their team, Matt Hetherington, who's helping us develop alongside Ryan and what are the best ways to practice and play to the maximum benefit of brain health. So so the next thing we're rolling is tutorials and ways to to play and really create a community and a movement for brain health with ping pong at its center. So that is our big vision. Is really, I like to think that we like to be the what November did for men's health. We want to kind of activate people around brain health and really having ping pong be that spark.
Brain health is becoming more talked about these days, I think. And I think there's a lot more to come out on this too. Like a lot more awareness will occur. Certainly that's something that I want to help with because, well, talking with the who's who of people, some of these, Dr. John Rady and David Sinclair and all these others who are talking and the data's in. Exercise probably benefits the brain more than any other part of the body. And the brain is just it can benefit so much from exercise, especially if you're enjoying what you're doing.
Absolutely.
I want people to, so for people who are watching and listening, because this will go on various platforms, some of it will just be listen and not video. One thing that I just want to say as I go off on a very short tangent is that there is a lot of there's a larger percentage of people now, I think, who are experiencing some type of, let's say, mild cognitive decline, dementia. Alzheimer's is a huge one. It's the number one neurological disorder globally. And so taking care of your brain, I guess I could just say it like this, is so important. Sitting down and doing crossword puzzles and word searches and playing chess, all good. But moving the body and using your brain, well, there's a better thing for you. If there's any way, if you're able to move your body, if you're able to move your arms, you can sit and do ping pong. You can sit and do VR. You can sit and do boxing. Getting the heart rate elevated, exercise, moving the body, and using the brain is so vitally important to help to, let's say, delay maybe onset of some of these different afflictions. And there's a study that came out. I went to a Maria Shriver luncheon about 3 years ago in New York. I met Dr. Dale Bredesen, author of The End of Alzheimer's. Really nice guy. And they were saying there that there was a study done 4 or 5 years ago. It showed people with Alzheimer's who just exercise, not even using the brain necessarily, like cognitively, mindfully doing something, but just cardio, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week for 6 months. That alone, pretty much straight across the board, helped to improve their memory. And for some of them, symptoms of any issues of early stage Alzheimer's was gone. I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, Carl, I think
Incredible.
to your point too, it's like a lot of this has strong support from neurology, but obviously needs more research. But to think that 3-4 years later, if you hadn't been doing it and you could have been doing it, there's already enough information pointing towards the positive results. And as I said, a friend a friend of mine said, I wish my father had been playing ping pong 3 years ago, and so let's get the word out so that we know there's benefits. All we're going to confirm is the extent of the benefits. So as you said, there's enough information and research to know that the benefits are there, and there's the similarities, a lot of similarities between the boxing and the dance, and even more so. Like there's more going on in terms of what you have to take into account for ping pong than either boxing or dance. So great compliments, gives you the variety, one more activity to add to your routine. So if you happen to be bored of one, or you can't get to one and you just want to change, it's one more added to the mix.
Absolutely. So Leona brings up a really good point here. Taking care of your brain is something that needs to be getting promoted in the early years at school. I agree, Leona. Absolutamente. Yes. And fostering good practice before someone is diagnosed. So preventative practice. Absolutely.
100%. That's exactly what we want to get. One of the reasons why we want to get the word, and why we're also so excited to be working with, Ryan for too, because he's also, very much promoting this, we are too, and preventative care, it's so important.
And the beauty of ping pong is it's more intergenerational than a lot of activities. So if you happen to have a parent, for example, that may not have it or may have one of those diseases, you can be doing it and helping yourself while you're helping them. So that's also a real plus for this activity.
It's a real bonding moment too. I mean, I had a friend of ours her father has Parkinson's, and she was just like, oh my goodness, is this something I can do with them? I'm so excited to share this with them. And then and they also can play with their caregivers, too, which is it gets people moving who are, there's just so many opportunities to integrate this across generations.
Absolutely. I get so excited. Like, I have 10 things I want to say, but the first one is, Leona, I forgot that there's a Q&A box. Let's go over there and take a look. Thank you. Okay, so can we support? Oh, I love it. Can we support Ping Pong for Good in Scotland? That comes from Leona. Let's start with that question first.
Well, we are, as far as specifically in Scotland, we hope to go international soon. But what we can do is by supporting PPG here in the United States and Canada, we'll be providing online materials. So you'll have access to them in Scotland via our website and through our social media portals.
Yeah.
So
nice.
So you can you can donate to the Ping-Pong For Good .org. There's information there. But thank you for your question.
Yeah, that's great. She also says she set up online Facebook group called Parkinson's Exercise in Action. If we can support your initiative in any way, please tell us.
Leona, I can also connect you. I should connect her with the Ping Pong Parkinson's group. So Leona, feel free to text me. I'll make an introduction to Nenad.
She's already part of that group.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Excellent. And Heather Kennedy, I meant to say welcome because I saw you pop on here. So Heather, how... Okay, well, I think we might have covered this, but I'll just say the two things that she says. How useful do you think VR Pong is? So virtual reality Pong is for people with Parkinson's. And how can we make virtual reality more accessible for those who are not tech savvy? I understand that one. I'm pretty tech savvy, but I work with people who aren't. So when I'm with them, I can set it up and say, here it is. It's on your head. Go. But if they're alone or they buy one and they can't figure it out, do you have any suggestions on this? Because I never actually thought about this. Good points, Heather.
I do, and actually, that's so glad you answered. So glad you asked that question, Heather, because that's phase 2. Is actually we are working with developers to create a system that is more user friendly, so that the tech is more accessible. Because that's one of it can be a little bit intimidating when you're first setting up. So what we have some ideas, and we might create access to online instructions to kind of give you a shortcut of how to set it up that we've discovered ourselves as we went through it until we get this the launch of this technology.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, we're working with a company who has been working with virtual reality in nursing homes already, and so we're hoping to connect with them and make it where you could actually set it up with a pad. What do you call it?
iPad?
A notepad, iPad, thank you.
iPad,
so that you can make it much more accessible, because it is a little confusing when you first get on it. But I actually set up Eileen Green, who kind of helped kick off this whole story with a ping-pong just this week, and she had a ball. So once you get them set up, it's very fun.
But essentially, you could get to the point too, Carl, where you had a particular client, patient, and whatever they were going to be dialed in by their therapist for that particular week would be set up and programmed in. So they literally just have to like turn it on, put on the headset, and they could have their weekly therapy, ready to go, and just power up and off you go. That's where it's heading.
Yeah. That would be fantastic for sure. Just two things here. So Liana says, I would suggest that affordability is more of a limiting factor. Yeah, I understand that. It can be. And I don't know, is there anything on the frontier about maybe
Yep.
Okay, good. I'm glad she asked. Thank you for asking, Liana, and I'm glad we asked this to you. What's happening?
No, I'm
there?
super excited about this. So that's one of the other things we're doing is we're partnering with foundations to offer them for people who can't afford them and to make them more accessible. So that is something that we also are working with other foundations. So stay tuned. We'll let you know as soon as those are available. And actually, we have the portable ping pong nets, which make any table into a ping pong table, are currently available as a grant on the Mccombsey Foundation. So we just
Mccombsey. Love that guy.
Yeah, so we just found out that this virtual reality is kind of new for us, and we're just getting that program into. And so stay tuned for that, but we'll let you know we'll make that announcement that's available.
Yeah, but to Leona's point, it's literally could be at no charge or free to people that can't access it financially. And then to Mo's point, it's the adjustable net. We played on a table that was 2 feet by 1 foot with this adjustable net. So if you're constricted space-wise, anything's possible in terms of adjusting to your current constraints.
And you can also play you can do some things with just a ball and a paddle too, which Ryan has a series of exercises that are super helpful too.
That's amazing. You know what I have? I got, I don't know even what you call them, but it's the paddle with a string attached to a ball, the elastic string. And that's a tough one. I am not good at that.
Carl, have you tried the one you put around your head?
Yes, I have that too. You put on the head and you're doing, we use that a lot. Well, in fact, I was with a gentleman yesterday. He, no diagnosis of anything in particular, although I know his doctor very well. Probably just mild cognitive decline, but man, he was a chemistry teacher. So in the past 10 months I've been with him, and yesterday was an example where he's doing this, right hand, left hand, both hands, and trying to do some. I've learned more about chemistry from this man, but he's talking while he's doing it. He's explaining, or I quiz him on things, which, I have no idea what the answers are if it's chemistry, because that's 45 years ago I did chemistry. So, but it's really cool because he enjoys it. And it just seems like people, and myself included, I'm more alert when I'm done with these things. Even if I'm mentally fatigued, I'm still more alert because I've fired up the brain and I've got stuff happening that wasn't happening a few minutes ago.
Yeah, no, it's palpable and it's instant. It's not like you're waiting weeks for the results. Like you finish the activity and it's like, boom.
So this partnering of foundations, I think, is great. And I don't usually ever talk about this when someone else is my guest, but I'm going to just say I have a foundation as well. It's called Parkinson's Global Project. At this point, we're solely donating to people very much in need, terrible financial conditions around the world, who, for example, one classic case, $30 a month. There's one lady, $30 a month. It gets her what she needs so she can actually walk versus not walk.
Wow.
It's dopamine. It's levodopa, and it's really cheap where she is, but she has no resources. She lives in a house with a dirt floor. I mean, I've traveled a lot. I've seen people in horrible living conditions with Parkinson's and other problems. So this is what my foundation does. I'm not saying this to ask anyone to support my foundation. I'm saying it because we do have other goals. As we start to get more revenue, and we can hopefully partner up someday, when I'm in a position where we can start to diversify how we allocate funding, if there's any way we can help you, we're not ready yet, but man, we would love to be able to provide an Oculus for someone here and someone there, and buy some games to go with it, because it's a win-win all the way around.
Yeah. No,
So I just want to say,
100%.
this is what we do, but we have other goals, and one of them is this type of thing that you're doing. Not, well, it would be to work with you and help you, so we can help other people.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great,
well,
Carl. I think
that's
the
so
you know
great.
the key for us is we're like, we want to be the facilitators. We're not going to do it all. If we can get other either existing or other foundations, other organizations on track, and we can do this and spread the word internationally. If someone's got a head start somewhere and it's all complementary, then it's obviously a win-win. So I think there's enough alignment that, like, if, for example, you've got something going internationally in some of these countries where the socioeconomically they're not as in good a shape as we are, and it gets the word out internationally, and we feed off each other, and that's couldn't be a better approach.
Yeah, and right now,
Well, I'll be talking to the.
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'll be talking. I'm sorry. So I'm going to be speaking with the folks from Oculus, and so I'm really excited to be sharing this need and this interest. So I'll keep you guys posted on how we can get make these more available to more people, and also let people know that there's opportunities to sponsor these headsets for people. So I think that would be a really great opportunity to work with some of our other partners who are interested in helping us get the word out.
I agree 100%. And right now, we do what we do specifically, which I already mentioned, but also this vehicle is Zoom and podcast and all that is another way to try to raise awareness. It's something I'm trying to do because I love what you're doing. I love it so much. And in the future, we'll talk again, because I know you'll have updates. We'll want to share all those. I do have Heather Kennedy is with us. I don't know her, but I feel like I do know her because I've seen her on other things. There's something I'd like to do. She'd like to give a testimonial of benefits. Ping-Pong. I'm going to bring her on for just a moment. Okay, very brief, because I think this is going to be good for a lot of reasons. Heather, if I can figure out how to do it.
Ah, there she is.
Heather.
Hello, how are you?
Doing really well.
Hi, Heather.
How are you?
I'm great. I have a visual for you that you might like to see, because I have my Oculus on, and let me tell you, it's a pretty snazzy accoutrement to my outfit.
We can't see you. We only see your name.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe start your video up. That would be great.
Let's see. How do I do that?
Maybe
like I said,
lower left corner maybe of your Zoom might be a start video button.
Nope. Only mute lower hand or chat.
Oh, I wonder if maybe I have to do this on my end.
I think so. By the way, this is a
you
great,
know what? Yes, this is what we're going to do. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I just made you a panelist. So maybe, there you are. Okay,
There
hi.
you are.
Okay, great.
Hi,
Look at you.
everyone.
Morning,
Fantastic.
Heather.
Good morning, Trent. Good morning, Maureen. Good morning, Carl. I love your show, Carl.
Thank
And
you.
I just wanted to say
Oh,
that
yeah.
even though I'm shaky, I can still work these accoutrements. They're very easy to use. And immediately you're in another realm of existence with this. The VR is actually very easy to use once someone shows you, depending on what kind of learner you are, whether you're an oral learner or kinesthetic learner, which I am. I need to be shown. I highly recommend testing one of these. It's worth every penny. It'll be the greatest workout you've ever had. And can I just say, ping pong, like Maureen said, it's multi-generational. It includes all people from all levels of Parkinson's, especially. So everyone is invited. And as an additional bonus, it gets your blood pumping, your serotonin hit, your dopamine hit.
Yeah.
It's clean, it's good fun. It can be done anywhere with a table that we mentioned that you could just set up on top of your dining room. And Carl, as you know, you feel better when you work out, whether you have Parkinson's or not. You know, it gives you that little bump. And the hand-eye coordination with the fine motor skills, as you know, we struggle with these. So just after a half an hour or less of this ping pong, I can walk better. I'm in a better mood. I'm reconnecting with people around me. I can speak more clearly. So I don't know what kind of magic and voodoo this is, but you have to get some of this.
I
believe
agree
it will.
more.
It will be dancing, cycling, boxing, and ping pong. Mark my words, this will be the fourth. Yeah, absolutely. In no time at all. Carl, thank you so much for your show. I really appreciate you. And thank you, Trent and Maureen, for bringing this.
El gusto is mio. The pleasure is mine. I thank you for sharing. I appreciate this very much, Heather. Thank you.
I'll take off.
Okay.
Hopefully see you on the tables.
I love your shirt too.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Parkinson's. All right. Well, I'm going to do this. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for that, Heather. I hope I didn't cut you off. So you know, oh yeah, you're still with us. I hope. I might have messed it up. Anyways, anything else you want to share with anybody out there before we sign off? Anything at all?
I just say, Carl, that I just want to emphasize again, I'm coming from a more fortunate place than a lot of people because of my slow progression. And I want to emphasize that, you know, we're working on better quality of life. We're not working on the cures. A lot of other good people are doing that, but we want to be able to improve someone's quality of life, regardless of what stage they're in, and determine ways that we can adapt the training to whatever your capabilities are. And it's not about competition. If you want to be competitive, great. If you want to compete against yourself, great. If that helps you, but it's really just to reach as many people as possible and get that word out and to get satisfaction that you've positively affected someone's life and quality of life. And if we can all do that every day now, it's like, you know, daily inform someone in your circle of influence about the benefits of playing ping pong and working on the body and the mind. And if you do that every day, it'll just spread organically.
That's very powerful. Two things I just want to interject here. And then Maureen, I love if you have anything you want to say, please do. First of all, Heather, I think I actually cut you off and I didn't mean to. I've never brought anyone on in the middle of a thing. And then, so I'm sorry, I did it wrong. I see you just logged in, but thank you for your testimonial and your enthusiasm and your passion and your words of wisdom. Also, the other thing is when people feel better, there's a ripple effect and it goes out. So if you feel better, people around you feel better. So it's a win-win all the way around. And, you know, this is something that can be accomplished in many ways. And certainly this idea of the ping pong, the game itself, the community, well, there you go, right? More good stuff.
Absolutely. I just want to say thank you. And Heather, thank you so much for sharing what you did. That was just so powerful.
Yeah.
And you really summed it up so beautifully. And I couldn't agree with you more. And Carl, you are just so wonderful for reaching out and inviting us on, helping us to to get the word out. So thank you. And thank you for everybody who's tuned in today. If you know, please do feel free to reach out to myself or Trent anytime if you have any questions or want to know how you can get involved.
Fantastic. And yeah, so I could feel Heather's energy. Could you? I mean,
Yeah, she's
that
amazing.
was powerful. I'm telling you. So do you know
I
Heather?
mean,
Do you know
Oh,
her
yeah.
already?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's been an advocate for Parkinson for over a decade. You can, I'll get you her links and her info so you can get a
Oh,
sense
please.
of what
Yeah,
she's
Heather, I
done.
think we should connect and talk about
Oh, yeah.
and just start a conversation about some things. Because when I get around people with any of your energies, I get energy. Like my day is already fantastic. And this is the first thing I've done today is talk with both of you. So, because I slept late today. Sometimes I do that. Well, I was up at 7:30, but you know,
Thank you, Carl.
I didn't
We
do
really-
anything for 2 hours. I drank coffee and read a book, and you know, so this is I feel so good. I feel so inspired. So, okay, let's do this before we sign off. Please tell me one more time where can people find you? Your website is, please tell us that again.
pingpongforgood.org.
Okay, Ping-Pong For Good, the word FOR, right?
Good. Yep.
forgood.org. And you also,
Yep.
if you search
And we're
Instagram, Facebook, there's a page. Anywhere else that people
YouTube
should look for
as
you?
well.
Oh, I didn't know that. And I should have looked and I didn't even think about it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and actually you can see the video with Trent from 5 years ago to now. There's that is on there. So check it
Well,
out.
That's great. And in fact, you know, I was thinking and then I forgot to say it because I had a million thoughts, but that to me parallels this idea that people with Alzheimer's in the Maria Shriver study, or she talked about it at least, maybe it wasn't her foundation, but the bottom line is 6 months of exercise, 30 minutes, 5 days a week, and memory came back or symptoms were gone for many people. Well, I feel like this is a parallel to that, in that here you are 5 years ago at one state of playing and ability, and 5 years later you're crushing it, right? And I think there's a lot to be said for that. There's stuff happening in your brain that's really good because you're sticking with it and you're doing it and you're having fun.
Oh, I left out one thing. My objective is to reverse the disease.
I love it.
Not be stable. Mine's to reverse it. So worst case is I'll be stable, but I want to be the first one to reverse it.
I tell you, man, we gotta have another conversation down the road. Well, listen, Maureen and Trent, thank you very, very much for taking the time, because I know we're all busy, and your time means a lot to me. Your information, taking this time to be with me, I can't thank you enough. And I know other people are thanking you as well right now, and they will in the future when they watch this on YouTube and they hear it on wherever it goes. And you're doing great things. Keep up the great work. And let's talk again, maybe in the fall sometime, and see what's going on there. I know we're going to have updates.
Perfect. Look forward to it. And
For
you keep
sure. We would
doing
love
what
that.
you're doing, Carl.
All right.
Yes, thank you, Carl.
Thank you, Trent.
Take care.
Thank you, Maureen. Thank you, Heather, and everybody who's watching. Oh, ITTF World Championships in Berlin. Whoa, cool.
Yeah.
I know somebody going to that. I think Christoph is going. All right, everyone watching on Zoom and Facebook,
Bye,
thank
everybody.
you as well. Have a fantastic day, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care now. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.